This is Kids and Culture Camp's teacher training workshop held on the campus of Howard University, March 25th, 2013. Our first presenter is Elena Tscherny, and she is going to present on Mexico. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elena Tscherny.
Good morning.
And I am here to talk briefly about a beautiful country, Mexico. The first thing I want to mention about Mexico is that it's a gorgeous, beautiful, diverse country. And it's a country that is composed by many kinds of people. And the influences of these people are what make Mexico today. You have on the screen the flag of Mexico. That's the first thing that you might like to know. And probably you have seen it here in Washington, D.C. because the Mexican Cultural Institute and the Embassy of Mexico and the Consulate prepare many programs here in the community, and they are involved with community affairs. A little bit an overview of the country of Mexico. The official name of the country is Estados Unidos Mexicanos. That is the Mexican United States. And that's the name, the official name for them, in Spanish, of course. And the location of Mexico, it is located in the southern part of North America. And it's a neighbor of the United States. As a matter of fact, Mexico has 3 international boundaries, 3 international borders. The first one is the one to the north, the border with Mexico, with the United States. Mexico borders to the north with the United States, and if you pull your map of the United States, you will see that there are several states that are in the border with Mexico, and they are California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Those states, of course, have a lot of people who speak Spanish there because of the constant migration from the south to the north and from the north to the south. Another thing that you would like to know is that Mexico in the south borders with 2 countries. One country is Guatemala and the other is Belize. And therefore there is an international border there. Also, Mexico has 2 huge bodies of water. One is the Pacific Ocean, and the other is in the Gulf of Mexico with access to the Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. So to wrap up, I will show you here the map of Mexico. It's a large one. And you will see here the United States, California, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. And here is the Gulf of Mexico, and here is the Pacific Ocean. And in the south, we have the border with Guatemala and the border with Belize. In addition to this information, you might like to know that Mexico has a huge population. It's the number 11th in terms of world population. And they have, at least as of the census of 2010, approximately, let me see, they have 112 million people living in Mexico. That's a large number. Mm-hmm. Literacy rate. 91% of Mexicans know how to read and write, which is really an achievement for a country of that size. The country is also, just like the United States have 50 states and the District of Columbia, Mexico has 32 federal entities like the states, plus the capital that is called Mexico Distrito Federal, or Mexico DF. The initials, just like we have Washington, D.C. for the District of Columbia. Mm-hmm. The area, the land of Mexico is huge too, and it's measured in square kilometers. This is something that you might like to point later on to your students, that here in the United States we measure in feet and miles, and almost the rest of the world is in meters and kilometers. So Mexico has 1,964,375 square kilometers. That is the continental and the peninsulas, the land. However, Mexico, like many other countries too, claim territorial ownership of the land under the water of both the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean. And that adds a big chunk of land to the territory. And that adds more than 3 million square kilometers. So the total surface of Mexico, counting the continental land above water and the one that they call it the exclusive economic zone of territorial sea, is more than 5 million square kilometers. It's a big country. The government is a federal republic, and they just elected, less than a year ago, they just elected a new president. He is Enrique Peña Nieto. And the biography of the new president, as well as information about him, is in your handout. We will be talking about later. Let's talk a little bit about the flag of Mexico. La bandera de Mexico, as we call it. Bandera is flag. So when you talk to children about it and you want to describe new words, bandera is one of those. And the spelling is in your handout too. The Bandera de Mexico is a vertical tricolor flag of green, white, and red. And it has the national coats of arms there, charged in the center of the white stripe. The red, white, and green are the colors of the National Liberation Army of Mexico. The central emblem is the Aztec pictogram for Tenochtitlan, which is now Mexico City, and the center of the empire. It recalls the legend that inspired the Aztecs to settle on what was now originally a lake island. So what the city of Mexico is, it was built on top of a lake. A ribbon in the national color is at the bottom of the coat of arms. This coat of arms include an eagle holding a serpent in its talon. You see the eagle there, and the serpent is perched on top of a prickle-pear cactus. The cactus is situated on a rock that rises above a lake. The coat of arms is derived from an Aztec legend that the gods told them to build a city where they spot an eagle on a nopal. Nopal is the cactus plant, eating a serpent, which is now Mexico City. I want to mention here now several learning experiences for your campers. You can, when you have your group, you might like to display a map of Mexico and point its borders with the United States. Guatemala and Belize discuss the geography, the bodies of water, Rio Grande, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of California, the Caribbean Sea, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, lakes, mountains, etc. And show online images also of Mexican beaches. They're gorgeous, beautiful, small towns, volcanoes, and more. Another learning experience regarding the information I just provided is an opportunity to talk about the concept of millions. I am a teacher of physics and math, so I am always looking for an opportunity to plug mathematics or concepts like that. And compare Mexico, for example, with other countries with large populations such as China, India, Indonesia, Brazil, the United States, and see the millions of people, the concept of millions. Another learning experience will be, as I mentioned before, the difference of measuring units, foot, mile, meter, kilometer, and how people express it, how many feet are in a meter, how many miles are in a kilometer, etc. And one way to do that is if you have your car, normally cars come with both. Your odometer, your measurement there, it comes with kilometers and miles. If you notice carefully your car, you will see that there's a comparison there. Another learning experience is find the Mexican states that form part of the international border with the United States. We know that California, New Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, and the United States and Texas are in the border. But what are the states in Mexico? Interesting to find out. And the cities that are one across the other. For example, in the United States we have El Paso. In Mexico, the one just crossing the border is Ciudad Juárez. So it's interesting to find out the cities that are just separated at the border. Very interesting. Another learning experience, of course, is to talk about the Mexican flag. And you can find now in the market seasonally the prickle pear fruits. They are called tuna in Spanish and nopal in the Nahuatl language. It's one of the languages in Mexico. And it's very easy just to get that beautiful green or purple fruit, open it with a knife very carefully. Don't you do it because they're pretty. And then open and slice the content inside, and if you refrigerate it for a while, it's delicious. Very cold in the summer, it's really great.
So the prickle pear is the same thing that's
Yes,
in the flag?
The plant, yeah. Oh. The plant.
The plant.
The nopal, yeah. And so they will have the experience of eating, if they have not done it before, and also pronouncing the name of the fruit. Tuna, like the tuna fish, but it's tuna, T-U-N-A, in Spanish is the fruit, or nopal in the Nahuatl language. Also, I have included in your package a blank map of Mexico, so you can fill it out with, children can look at the map and fill it out with either the name of the states, the mountains, the big cities, the bodies of water, etc. So they have a hands-on experience there. And let's talk a little bit about the history of Mexico. The history of Mexico predates the arrival of the Spaniards, of course. Pre-Columbian, that means prior to Christopher Columbus' arrival to this continent, there were many, many indigenous cultures in what is now Mexico. And some of them still, their descendants live here today. And the major ones, the major empires were the Mayans, the Aztecs, and of course they left us with their languages. They had a lot of influence among themselves in trade, art, politics, technology, and religion. Over a span of 3,000 years before Christopher Columbus, these regional powers were making alliances among them and looking for their own people in the same land, or what is now Mexico. Since the Spanish conquest, Mexico has fused all these cultures into one single one, what is now Mexican people. There have been a lot of migration into Mexico for other groups also, mainly people from the African continent. They came forced as slaves. People now from Asia and other continents too, and also from south of the continent, from the rest of the Americas. So Mexico is a multi-diverse country, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. You might like to, as a suggestion, go to the public library and check out books there about ancient Mexico. And just for the children to have the experience of seeing the books, the arts, the culture, the crafts that they made at those times, the pyramids, and all the remnants that we have now about the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the other many cultures that are still alive in Mexico. Another suggestion is to go to the website of the National Museum of the American Indian, and they have a wonderful page for excellent activities for your campers, you might like to, if they have access to computers, to visit the webpage of the National Museum of American Indian, the Smithsonian Institution. And this is the page called Living Maya Time, Some Corn and a Calendar. And it had many, many activities as well as resources for teachers and instructors. As a learning experience, you might like to visit a museum and request a curator there. So they can guide you through visual, oral, and hands-on experience there on the ancient Mexico collections. Also, another experience in the same museums is to visit the contemporary collections of indigenous cultures of Mexico. And a third one for lunch at the museum. They have a cafe called the Mexican Cafe. And in there they sell original foods from all over the world, from indigenous cultures all over the world. And they have a special menu called Mesoamerican, a Mesoamerican menu. That includes tortillas and a lot of foods, soups, main dishes, etc., made with corn and beans and other Mexican products. And for dessert, the children will enjoy sharing the sweet potato churro with white chocolate corn sauce. Let's talk now a little bit about the languages. In Mexico has many, many languages, more than 60 languages, original languages. And of course, Spanish is one of them, and more than 90% of the people, actually 96% of the people speak Spanish in Mexico. But they do have other other languages too. And the Nahuatl, the Yucatec Maya, the Mixtec language, etc. Just for the children to get experience of the Spanish language, which is mostly spoken for most of the population, I brought several words for you to mention, and some of you will be familiar with them. We will start with family words. Family, like how do you call your mother? Mommy in English, right? Mom in English. In Spanish would be mama. Let's pronounce it. Mama.
Mama.
And father will be papa.
Papa.
Papa. Your brother will be hermano.
Hermano.
And your sister will be hermana. Hermana. Your sister. Your grandfather will be abuelo, and much better yet, the diminutive. Abuelito. Abuelito.
Abuelito.
And the grandmother will be abuelita. Abuelita. The words are in your handout. Okay. Your uncle will be tío.
Tío.
And your aunt will be tía.
Tía.
Your cousin will be primo.
Primo.
And your female cousin will be prima.
Prima.
Also, we can talk about the seasons. The camp usually is run during the summer. Summer is called verano. We spell with a small v, but we pronounce the large V and the small v the same. So we will say verano.
Verano.
The fall or autumn will be otoño.
Otoño.
And then comes winter. Invierno. And where we are now here, primavera. Primavera. We will also can talk about the numbers. And we always start with the number 0 instead of number 1. Why? Because it was the ancient Mexicans who discovered the concept of the 0. So that was very advanced for them.
The concept?
The concept of 0.
Of zero.
0 you cannot see.
And that's an ancient Mexican.
Yeah. So the word in Spanish is cero.
Zero.
It tells you cero with a C. Cero. Uno. Dos.
Dos.
Tres.
Tres.
Cuatro.
Cuatro.
Cinco.
Cinco.
And we could go, of course, more higher numbers. We could also talk about the days of the week. In the United States, we start the week on a Sunday in the calendars, right? Well, in our countries, we start with a Monday, with the first working day. And so we have the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, in the week at the end. So we will start with Mondays, lunes. Tuesday will be martes. Wednesday will be miércoles. And so on. Yeah, we will be practicing that too with them. We can also talk about the colors. This color is blanco, and there are other colors like
Your shirt.
sure. This here mi saco es azul. Esta suéter is rojo. And then we have amarillo, which is yellow, verde, which is green, and other colors. So that one is also in your package, all the information on that. You would like to, as a learning experience, help your campers practice the pronunciation of these Spanish language words and use it in context, even though they speak English. They want to say, for example, today is lunes. Just to start incorporating the words into the language. Another items that in Spanish that they might like to know are the greetings. We have greetings in Spanish, and just like you have good morning, good afternoon, good evening, we have buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. And in an informal way, just like you say hi, we will say hola. Hola. You probably have heard the children talk about that, no? And it's mostly like you say hi, what's up? In Spanish, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Or ¿cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? And the answer to that will be a fine thank you. Bien, gracias. Bien, gracias. I have incorporated other words like adiós, hasta luego, hasta mañana, see you until tomorrow. Me llamo Elena, my name is. Encantado, mucho gusto, a pleasure, etc. Those kind of words that you learn doing greetings, no? And as a learning experience, you would like the campers to start incorporating that every morning during that period that you're talking about Mexico, during the week, it's a week, approximately. The children will greet each other and the teachers with buenos días, buenas tardes, adiós, etc. So they can get immersed in those words. Okay? Relating to, I want to talk a little bit more about the crafts. You have a question?
No.
No. Okay. Let me know if you have questions.
Frío.
Oh, tienes frío. Mexico is famous for its craft, and I brought a few of the items that you see here. And this is un armadillo, and look at the colors.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful colors of the armadillo. This is a calavera, a sugar is called. See this lady? Okay. Hi, the lady there is made of sugar.
That's a lady?
Yeah, well, it's considered, actually in Spanish will be la flaca, is Lady Death, but it doesn't have the connotation they have in other cultures in which death is something that you don't talk about.
They have a Dia de los Muertos.
Exactamente. In Mexico, there is a celebration the day after Halloween in the United States here. There is in Mexico actually 2 days of celebrations. El Día de los Santos y el Día de los Muertos. The Day of the Saint and the Day of the Dead. El Día de los Santos is November 1st. And El Día de los Muertos is November 2nd. And on November 2nd, people go to the cemetery, families go to the cemetery with their picnic baskets, their guitars, the music instruments, to be with the loved ones that have passed away. So it's not something that people shy away and says, oh no, it has to be fun. No, it's very family oriented. So people create these kinds of things like sugar skulls, big, small, to eat. And it's really a wonderful tradition because it makes you feel that you are the person who passed away is not forgotten. That is sharing. You are sharing a meal there with your loved one or loved ones.
So that sugar craft is something you would do during that
During that
November
period.
1st, 2nd time period?
Yes, during that period. It's very interesting how this culture has so much respect for the dead that it's part of life. So they are there at the cemeteries, every place in Mexico. As a learning experience, there are some sites on that I'm gonna show you. Although this happens in November, not during the summer, so you might not see those expressions here in Washington because there are organizations. The Mexican Cultural Institute is one of those here in Washington, the one on 16th Street near between Harvard and Columbia Road. They do organize programs for that event in November. Another item that I want to talk to you is the art of making pinatas. This is a tiny pinata, of course, a tiny baby, but there are so many ways to make pinatas. Normally, I learned how to do it when I was a child, and it's really a fantastic way of having fun with your children, and also to explain a little bit about what a pinatas are for. Usually the pinatas are empty cavities, containers, that people put inside fruit, candies, toys, little toys of course. And these are decorated, some are very elaborate, this is one of those elaborate, and some are very plain. And usually they hang it from a tree or from some high beam, and children then try to break the pinata so they can get access to the contents, toys, candies, fruit, etc. And there's a video that I have here that might help you. It's called How to Make a Pinata. Allow me to go to the page where I have the link, which is Corinthians Crafts. Okay. Here it is. So this is a video, it's a very short video on how to make a piñata. And I hope that you enjoy it. Let's skip the videos, the ads. So it's only a 2-minute, 50-second description.
How to make a piñata. Making your own piñata is surprisingly easy, and it can be a lot of fun. You will need a work smock, an old sheet or drop cloth, old newspapers, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of water, a round balloon, a large bowl, plain white paper, acrylic or fabric paint, tissue paper and other trimmings, candy and other fillings, scissors, ribbon, and sticks. Optional, glue and cardboard. Step 1. Wear a smock and cover your workspace with an old sheet or a drop cloth. Making a piñata is a messy undertaking.
I think that there are issues with downloading here. Usually will go.
Step 2. Tear old newspapers into strips approximately 1 inch wide and 8 inches long. You'll need enough pieces to cover your piñata with at least 3 layers. Step 3. Whisk 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of water into a paste, adding a bit more of either if needed to reach the right consistency. You can also use regular glue thinned out with water. Step 4. Blow up a round balloon and knot it. Sit it in a bowl to steady it while you work. Step 5. Dip a newspaper strip into your paste or glue, shake off any excess moisture, and press it onto the balloon. Smooth down any bumps. Repeat, overlapping the strips until the entire surface is covered in 1 layer. Leave a small, unpapered space at the top so you have an opening for the piñata's filling. Step 6. Let each layer dry completely before applying another. The more layers you add, the more difficult it will be to crack open. 3 layers is the minimum. Use plain white paper for the last layer so you have a clean base for decorating. Step 7. Let the paper dry overnight, then pop the balloon and remove it through the unpapered hole. Step 8. If you're making a specific shape, like a donkey, Construct the parts you need out of cardboard or scrunched up newspaper and attach them with tape or glue. The traditional Mexican piñata is an orb with seven, representing the 7 deadly sins. The cones are topped with colorful streamers. Step 9. Paint and decorate the piñata with streamers, tissue paper, glitter, or other trimmings. Acrylic and fabric paints work best. Step 10. Make a small slit on either side of the hole. Push a ribbon into one slit and pull it out of the piñata through the other slit. Then fill the piñata with candy, nuts, small toys, or a combination thereof. Step 11. Seal the top hole with more newspaper strips dipped in paste. Let it dry, paint it, and hang up the piñata with the ribbon that you strung through it. Step 12. Allow time for your work of art to be admired before you hand out sticks and let everyone smash it to smithereens.
I wish there were children there.
Did you know? In Mexico, smashing open a piñata is a Christmas tradition.
You know that here in the United States, it's also used on, mostly for birthday parties, children birthday parties. Well, we talk a little bit about craft. Let's talk a little bit now about famous artists, writers, famous persons from Mexico. One that is, one person has become the most universally admired Mexican artist nearly 5 decades after her death is Frida Kahlo. You probably have heard about her. And I have put a lot of information in your handout. But I want to mention that here in Washington, the National Museum of American Arts has the only Frida Kahlo painting in the Washington, D.C. area. So that would be a great experience to go with the campers to the museum. They don't charge children under youth and children under 18. It's a private museum, but they don't charge the children. So you can call ahead and ask for a curator from the museum so they can take you to the painting, and they can answer questions related to the painting that is there in the museum. And you might like also to review that website. There's a website called fridakahlo.org, also mentioned in your handout. And there are many, many beautiful paintings there of tropical animals, plants, etc., images, as well as many portraits, self-portraits of Frida Kahlo in that site.
Which museum again is that?
Fridakahlo.org.
No, which museum?
The National Museum of Women in the Arts. The one is in New York Avenue on 15th Street. 15? Yeah, or 14, 15, 13, excuse me. New York Avenue on 13th Street. It's a great museum. And also, while you are there are many activities for children to do there. So you can call ahead, ask for a curator, so they can provide a guided tour, and also go, in preparation to go in there, you might like to present the painting that we have here in DC. Let me see, the title of the painting is called Self-Portrait Dedicated to Leon Trotsky. That painting is, you see Frida Kahlo there with a paper with a dedication. And as a learning experience, plan the visit to the museum, ask for the curator, and then ask the curator also to show you other areas that are appropriate for children to visit in the same museum of women in the arts. Another famous person, unfortunately, he passed away recently, is Carlos Fuentes, a wonderful writer. He wrote the book La Muerte de Artemio Cruz, The Death of Artemio Cruz, Aura, famous story. And of course, most of the books, actually all of the books that he wrote are for adults. So children might not have a personal interest in reading adult books that are for adult audience. That is, the language is for adults, and there are no funny little kids there playing or any stories. However, Carlos Fuentes lived here in Washington, D.C., and that's why it's so particular interest. His father was a diplomat, a Mexican diplomat. He was born, Carlos Fuentes was born here in the United States, in Panama City. Yeah, but he was the Mexican nationality. And when he was 6 years old, his father was posted as an ambassador here in Washington. So they moved to the mansion that is located, the Mexican Cultural Institute, on 16th Street between Harvard and Columbia Road. It's a huge mansion. It's called, now it's the home of the Mexican Cultural Institute. And you can actually call the Mexican Cultural Institute and ask for an appointment to bring the children there and visit the place where little Carlos Fuentes grew up when he was 6 years old up to 14. And also use the opportunity to see the beautiful murals around the stairway. The whole stairway is covered with murals depicting the history of Mexico. So it's a wonderful thing. And if there is an art exhibit, they have art galleries there, and the curators there may help you in guiding the children to what particular Mexican artists are exhibiting there at that time during the summer. And it's free. Okay,
That's great.
also, check out with your public library about novels in English and Spanish about Carlos Fuentes. Again, they are not children books, they are reading books for adults. They are novels mainly. However, just the fact that after the children have seen the place, talk about Carlos Fuentes and see his place, etc., they might like to really touch the book, see what the writer did, and see the words in English or Spanish, just to be part of that momentum. I'm sure that they will be thrilled to touch the books and see the pages, even though they might not be reading it now. They will be exposed to those readings. I want to pass now to another section and you like also to discuss, and this is about interesting facts about Mexico. And there are two topics. One is the beautiful monarch butterfly. You have heard about it? You do know that these are, the monarch butterflies are known for their incredible mass migration that brings millions of them to California and Mexico every winter. So, and they travel approximately 3,000 miles. And they have to begin their journey very early before winter, going south. So that species of butterflies go to a particular place in Mexico where there are oyamel trees. They love those to winter there, the oyamel trees. And probably you have heard the word oyamel because there is a nice restaurant here on 7th Street in the Quarter.
How do you spell it?
Oyamel, Oyamel. It's a Mexican restaurant. And it's the name is from the tree that the monarch butterflies go to. And I have included a link about the monarch butterflies. And when after you see the video with the children, you might like to show the maps to the children, the map of the United States and Mexico, and point and make the routes, the various routes that the monarch butterflies take, traveling from the north to the south. You know that they pass through Washington, D.C. I have them in my garden, but they just go, suck the flowers, and they leave. They are way in the way south. And also ask the campers to draw a monarch butterfly and an oyamel tree. And also discuss with them the lifespan of the monarch butterflies. Very interesting. The travel, the food that they need to travel all these miles. Another interesting fact of Mexico is the pink flamingos. You know, those ones that some people have in their gardens, those plastic. Mm-hmm. Well, this is not about the plastic pink flamingos that you see in some houses. These are the real pink flamingos. There is a large number, approximately 20,000 of them, that travel to the Yucatan Peninsula, to this area of Mexico, and there's a place called Celestún, and they come by the thousands to do courtship among themselves and then to nest nearby. So these are the pinkest flamingos that are in the world. They are beautiful, and of course they are the area. They are the government of Mexico had declared a national park. So there, nobody will build there, and nobody will interfere with nature here with the visits that these pink flamingos. Flamingo in Spanish is flamenco, and that's how the word is. Sales to flamenco. I have put a video also on that. They live in a very beautiful part of a fragile ecosystem, so that's why they're being protected. And because there are thousands, it attracts a lot of tourists. So the people, the Mexican people, when they go in the boats with the tourists, they have several rules. They don't allow people to get too close or not to scare the birds. But on the other hand, they want to admire nature. So it's a beautiful visit to go there. But here you will have in your link several videos on the flamingos, or flamencos in Spanish. After watching there's a 2-minute video, which is really great. You might like to check with the children, are flamingos swimming or walking in the water? What happens is that they go to the shallow part and they walk there. So that you could see them, all of them walk in the water, even though it looks as deep, it's not deep, it's very shallow. So they walk there. Another question that you might ask to the children is try to guess how many flamingos you see in the video. Thousands. Thousands.
I was just thinking of having them doing a contest, right? You know, especially I have a 3 to 5 age group. See how long they can stand.
Oh,
how
the span.
Right?
Also the span. How much they make. They're very light also. They don't weigh that much. They're just legs, a little piece of body, and the neck, no? Also, you might like to bring to camp, if you're able to get it, from the National Geographic magazine, the April 2012 issue, the National Geographic. Yeah, it's a year ago, approximately. And read together the feature article. It's called Birds of a Feather, and it's about the flamingos. It's really nice with a lot of photographs. Again, I have placed also a link in your materials for the website with photographs of the flamingos. So you can talk with the students, the campers, and discuss. There are detailed facts, photographs, and a map showing the location of where they are in Mexico. I'm going to pass now to the folk tale section. How are we doing with one topic that children like, of course, is folk tales. I have included in your handout several book titles appropriate for grades, for children, kindergarten to grade 2nd, from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, etc., as well as a link to a wonderful site called the Pura Verpre Award. This is an association of librarians, the American Library Association, and Reforma, the National Association to Promote Library Service to the Spanish speaking, and they have selected books appropriate for children in English or Spanish, and they give awards, the Pura Verpre Awards, for narration and for illustration on those books. So you have those. I brought here with me one book. I am not going to read the story, but just pass it on. And this is called Colombian Stories. And in there are 2 stories. Why Rabbits Have Long Ears. This is a Mexican story. And the other one, let's see, the 3 of this book. The Coming of Music, Making Human. This is a Mayan story. In English, so you can have around the campus, have the story, show the items that are discovered right there. So I have a few pages, 1, 2, 3 pages on that, reading list, I would say, of books in English about folk tales. One more item is the music. And you will have also in your materials a link to a beautiful concert in Mexico about mariachis, mariachi music from a state called in Jalisco, in Guadalajara, and this event happens, it's a festival of mariachis. And I have incorporated in that video, since there is a song called Viva Mexico, I have incorporated a brief lyrics. So you can sing it with your students. Read them first, talk about the meaning. Viva Mexico is long live Mexico. And then very short lyrics. And then sing with the musicians. You will see among the mariachi, children and adults. Little children playing the violins, adults, everyone participating in that huge concert in Guadalajara, in Mexico. The last topic is food. And Mexico is one of those hidden secrets, you can say that hidden secrets in terms of food, because here we're familiar with tacos, enchiladas, burritos, the fast food that we say. But Mexico has also extraordinary cuisine. And it's so extraordinary that the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, as is known by its initials, UNESCO, has declared Mexican food as a national, they call it Patrimonio Nacional para la Humanidad. It's a title that says that it has to be preserved. The way that they create, the way that they harvest the food, the way that they grow the food, harvest it, cook it, select it, mix it, is an art. It's a traditional art. At this time we have at home blenders, many appliances that we use to cook. But the title for this designation for Mexico is for the traditional cooking. So there's a video there on how they use the corn, the squash, the beans, and the mix of these products, how they can create many, many things, and how one plant complements the other when they are growing. The squash goes under the shade of the corn. The corn goes well with the beans, and how when the food is harvested, all the different plates, all the various plates that there are cooked on that. I have incorporated two recipes. The first one is a kids mango margaritas. And instead of course, there is no alcohol here. It's ginger ale, or you can put ginger ale or 7-Up, that kind of thing, instead of alcoholic drink. And instead of salt around the rim, you put sugar and lemon around the rim. So it's a very nice recipe and easy to do. And the next one is vegetarian tacos with these ingredients, the 6 that you can do. I'll be glad now to answer any questions that you may have. I hope I covered most of what. There was one more topic, and it deserves its own presentation, and this is about the influence of the African people in Mexico. And I have several videos too that I have incorporated.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. In Washington, D.C., is there a particular restaurant that you think comes close to getting Mexican food right?
Other than the Chipotle?
Yes.
Cubeta?
Oh,
Yeah.
the Q-U-A. It's Q-U-A.
Cubeta, something like that.
Where
I
is
don't remember the name, but I go there. They have also good food.
Where is it located?
It's a chain. So
Oh, it's a chain.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
okay.
one right on F Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Near 9th Street, 9th and 10th.
Right, near the new wax.
No self-serving questions, Sabrina. What questions we got? I'm just
thinking
playing.
for
I'm just
sampling and
I'm
field
just
trips
playing.
and
Yeah.
for dinner, homework assignment.
Right.
For dinner, of course, dinner at their fancy places for adults, Rosa Mexicano or Jamel.
Oh, Rosa Mexicano.
Rosa Mexicano too. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them are actually very modern, and some of them do fusion food that is mixed from the various origins with Mexican-inspired dishes. Yes.
In regards to music, besides mariachi, cumbia is
Colombia. Cumbia is from Colombia.
Okay.
But,
Colombia. What other music genres might
the
be?
son jarocho, which is mainly African influence, and that's why I want to create a special topic on that. And I'll be glad to give you a
Say the name of that again.
son jarocho. And I was actually looking for it in the web when I was on the internet explorer.
Okay.
How do you spell that?
Jarocho or jarocho?
Son.
Son, S-O-N.
H-O-R-O-C-H-I.
J-O-L-A-O-C-H-O.
Okay. H-O-R-O-C-H-I.
But I will add that to the material, so we can find it.
Any other questions?
Yes.
The corn in Mexico, agricultural wise, is the corn in Mexico the most closely related to the ancestral corn, like the small corns?
Yes, you know that here in the United States, the corn that we eat, I think is 99% of the corn that we eat are now genetically modified. You know that, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So far we're okay. We don't know the long-term consequences of that. But in any case, Mexico has several varieties. And not only Mexico, by the way, it's all Central and South America too. And when I say we, in terms of the continent, in the Americas, we have yellow corn, white corn, purple corn, blue corn, red corn, brown corn, and it's there are several varieties. In Peru, not in Mexico, but in Peru, there is a big festivity associated with the purple corn, in which people eat purple products during the month of October. They dress in purple. That's another topic, of course. It's not Mexico, it's Peru. But it's an honor and celebration, a celebration of the image of a black Jesus Christ. There's a long story associated with that, but the ending part, the cultural part, is that during October, Peruvian people return to Peru, those who are religious, to go to that procession celebrating this image of a black Jesus Christ, to pray to this miraculous image. And they go dressed in purple dress, women, men will have the purple jacket or purple tie, and they eat purple puddings, drink purple drinks, made of the corn. And going back again to your question, there are so many varieties, and just like you use the corn here to make popcorn, for example, we have another product that we made similar to popcorn, but in a different shape. And we have huge corns like this, Of course, they are very starchy, but they are good with cheese. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
No.
We'll take one more question.
I have one more. Can I have two more? It's real quick. The Olmecs were part of the ancient civilizations also, right?
Olmec,
Mine's
that's the
accent.
one that,
Yeah,
that's the one that people attribute that there was African influences there in
Okay.
their culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said it's Mexico City that was built over a lake.
That's correct. It used to be called Tenochtitlan.
Okay.
Tenochtitlan, the indigenous name for it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
The state of the empire. You had two?
I'm done. That was it too.
Very good. Muchas gracias. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
for your
Gracias.
time.
Thank you.